Greetings everyone, this is Kim Turcotte of kimturcotte.com, and I am here today with your Moon Magic energy forecast for the full moon in Libra, which is happening on April 5th at 12:34 a.m. Eastern Time. In this full moon energy, we're really still riding the wave of the expansion and the stepping into our fullest potential energy that really started snowballing that week of the new moon in Aries a couple of weeks ago, where we had the equinox, the new moon in Aries, and the Pluto moving into Aquarius. So if you haven't listened to that video, I do encourage you to go back and listen to that. I'm going to put the link up in this video so that you can easily get to it. But it talks a lot about, it's almost like we had a reset, right? And we're moving into this more expansive way of being and really claiming the life that we really truly desire. That our soul came here to live. Right? And with this full moon energy being in Libra, we're asked to specifically look at how the relationships in our lives are either supporting or not supporting, either enhancing or actually hindering that expansion and that way forward towards our most magical and amazing life that we can claim for ourselves. And when I was sitting in meditation, one of the things that kept coming up was looking at our relationships, how our relationships feel internally to us, right? Is that what we're really showing the world? And I was asked to talk both about our relationship with ourselves and our relationships with others. So let's talk about our relationships to ourselves first. How are you showing up for yourself? You know, are you a good friend to yourself? Are you a good partner to yourself? Are you a good lover to yourself? You know, so often we long for this partner in life that can nurture us, that can really provide us with everything we need. And we do that and we look externally and we're not really being that for ourselves. And the truth is that if we're not willing to be the partner to ourselves, the friend to ourselves, the supporter, the nurturer, the lover, that kind, gentle being that we desire, if we're not willing to be that for ourselves, we're not going to be able to fully have that in our partnerships, relationships, whether they're romantic or not, okay? As within, so without. If we're not willing to be that great friend for us, energetically, we're not going to be able to call that in with an external partner. So it's really important to really work on our relationships with ourselves. Take time for that. The other thing that is going on at the time of this full moon is Chiron is active during the full moon. And Chiron, if you don't know, is considered the wounded healer. And what Chiron calls us to do is not necessarily look to heal every single thing that we've experienced, every trauma, every drama, every challenging situation. Chiron doesn't ask us to fully heal that. Chiron asks us to come to a place of peace with what's happened. And again, to be kinder and gentler and more loving and accepting of ourselves and what we've been through. It's about tapping into those challenges, traumas, dramas, whatever you want to call them, and utilizing their energy in order to become more courageous, to really step more powerfully into ourselves, to become a better advocate for ourselves. And with the Libra energy, we're really looking at fairness and balance and justice. And so that combined with that Chiron energy, we're really being asked to allow ourselves to, yes, have and create a better relationship with ourselves, and with doing that, to demand that the relationships in our lives are balanced and fair and loving and kind and nurturing, just like we want. One of the things that came up when I was sitting in meditation, really tapping into this energy, was looking at whether or not the relationships that we have are really what we portray them to be. And the example that I like, this picture, the image that I got, was this couple who to the external world looked like the absolute perfect couple, right? And, they have everything and their relationship is perfect and they're just like such a great match, and everything flows in their relationships and there are no challenges, right? You know what I'm talking about, that couple that people think are the star couple. But then at home, they don't even talk to each other. They're not kind to each other. They don't really support each other, and they each feel lonely in that relationship. There's nothing worse than being in a relationship and feeling lonely. Like, when you're alone and lonely, it's very different than when you're in a relationship and you still feel that loneliness. And so during this full moon energy, we're being called to be honest about those key relationships in our lives. And it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be friendships too. Are the friendships that you have in your life that maybe you've had for many, many years, do they still bring you joy? Are they still fair and balanced? Do each of you contribute to the relationship? Do each of you honor and respect that other person in the relationship? Do you still have things in common that brought you together, right? Are those things still relevant? Or are you just there out of some sense of loyalty, I guess? That's the other thing with Libra, right? Libra wants to keep, Librans are peacekeepers, right? So with this Libra energy, right, I want you to look at where in your life are you being the peacekeeper? Are you trying to keep things balanced and peaceful and even-keeled at the expense of your own wants and needs and desires and at your own happiness and joy? Something came up in one of my client sessions, and I feel like it's relevant here. So I was working with a client, and we were talking about this person that was in their lives that always showed up late to everything, every single thing. That whether it was a dinner out, a play, a movie, coming over, a party, whatever it was, this person always showed up late. And not just 5 minutes late. Like this is like a half hour, 45 minutes late sometimes. And my client felt really disrespected. And when we kind of dove into it at a deeper level, they realized that a lot of things within this relationship that they had, this friendship, was very unbalanced. That this person didn't really show up in the relationship. It was almost as if it was just they showed up when they wanted to. They didn't really give to the energy to the relationship. And what my client came away realizing is that they were really working so hard to make this relationship work. And the person on the other side of it really wasn't. They weren't being respectful of what that relationship represented to the client, right? Like my client really was respecting this other person and really honoring the connection, knowing that it's a give and take. But what ended up happening is that my client always was giving and giving and giving. And this other person was taking and taking and taking. And it took this couple of instances where this person showed up really late to a couple of really important things for my client. And I think about that. How many times in our lives do we make excuses and we let that person off the other hook? Now, sometimes, yes, everybody's busy and sometimes people are late. But if it's something that happens over and over and over again, you need to ask yourself, does that person respect the connection that you have? Is that person willing to show up equally? Now, I'm not saying that every relationship is going to be or has to be equal all the time, because that's just not possible. Sometimes, due to whatever's going on, one person in the relationship might need the person, or might be in a space where they're not able to energetically give, and they might take a step back or not be fully present. But that needs to be an ebb and flow on both sides, right? And it should ultimately balance out over the long haul. But if there's one person and that person is you, or even if it's not you, like really, I want you to look at all your relationships. Where are you not showing up for others? Because where are you not showing up for you, right? Again, as within, so without, as without, so within. So where are you not showing up, and where are you letting it slide when other people aren't showing up? And are you willing to both respect yourself and the energy of the relationship enough to have the hard conversations? To say, hey, it really doesn't feel good that every time we have plans, you are always late. It really feels like, what that feels like to me is that it's not important to you, that I'm not important to you, right? To be honest, you don't have to be, the thing about sharing how you feel is you don't have to be mean, or you don't have to be a jerk. You can be incredibly kind. But you need to be honest. And you need to be in integrity. When we talked, in my video from the new moon in Aries, when we talked about all the transitions that are happening, how we're really stepping into a period, it was almost like a tipping point. And if you haven't listened to that, again, you can, I'll leave the link up above and you can go ahead and check that out. It's a really important video. It's a really important pivot point in our world. And so it's all about stepping into your greatest self, to step into what you were put on this, what your soul came here for, to live, right? To live out who you were put on earth to truly be and become. And so at this full moon, we're being asked to look at the relationships in our lives, again, both with ourselves and with others. How are those relationships either enhancing that journey towards our greatest selves, towards living and stepping into our magic, or how are they hindering it? And are they hindering it just because we're not willing to be honest and create better boundaries and to really express our needs, right? Or are they hindering it because they're just not meant to be part of our lives anymore, right? Two very different things. Like, I've said this in past videos, but when it comes to relationships, if a relationship or a partnership, whether it's a friendship, a family member, a boss, a coworker, or a romantic partnership, if it doesn't feel balanced, if it doesn't feel healthy, if it doesn't feel fulfilling, it doesn't mean that relationship no longer has to be in your life, okay? But what it does mean is that you need to be willing to be your own advocate, to be your own best friend, and to share what you're feeling and how it's affecting you. And you need to be willing to ask for what you want and what you need. And you need to be willing to set boundaries and say no when you're being asked to give more than you're capable of giving in any given moment. We cannot possibly be our best selves and step into our power in a way where it's healthy and expansive and magical and abundant and incredibly joyful, and where it just flows, if we aren't treating ourselves kindly, if we aren't loving ourselves enough to ask, in fact, demand what is best for us. And we can't expect others to honor what's important to us if we haven't been clear about that. And it's okay, I want to just say, it's okay to say no sometimes. It's okay to say, I'm not capable right now, or that doesn't feel good to me, or you don't even really have to give an answer. You know, that the whole notion of no is a complete sentence is really true. And it's so hard because I think, again, as a society, we've been taught to be people pleasers. I think, again, especially as women, we've been taught from the time we were little to, sit still, to be what everyone expects us to be, to give, to take care of others, to not think of ourselves, because when we think of ourselves, that's selfish. That is not true. That is not true. Now, certainly, people can be selfish. I'm not saying that there aren't selfish people in the world. There are. But when you're really coming from a place of, this is what's healthy and balanced and good for me, that's not selfish. When you need to take a step back, when you need to just honor where you're at, when you're not in a space to give energy or give support or nurturance to another, it's okay to say that. It's okay to be that. It's okay to take care of you. And I think that that's what this full moon is really all about. It's about asking us to look at where we're giving too much, where we're taking too much, where we're not being integritous in our relationships, where we're not honoring what we truly feel, when we're feeling a lot and we're not communicating it. This full moon is asking us to become empowered in our relationships, to become more balanced in our relationship with ourselves, and as a result, become more balanced in our relationship with others. So over the course of the next couple of weeks, from the full moon to the new moon, as that energy contracts, right, and we're being called to go into that stillness, into ourselves, to let go of what no longer serves us, right? That's the energy that happens between the full and the new moon. Take some time to really be honest with yourself and with others about your relationships and how they really, specifically how that aligns to or doesn't align to where you want to go in this world, who you want to be, and how you want to show up. I guarantee you that as you do this, as scary as it is sometimes, the more empowered and solid you become in yourself, and the easier that it is to truly communicate what it is you're feeling and what it is you need. Many blessings on your path as you step into your magic in this world. I hope that you will take some time to really sit with your relationship with yourself and work to really enhance that relationship, and also to look at those relationships in your life that may need some work. When you do, I guarantee you it will just contribute to and help you to expand and step into a better version of you, a more empowered, I don't want to say better, a more empowered version of you, and a more joyful and balanced and healthy version of you. And as each one of us do that, when we become that, we are the ripple in the pond, and that ripples out to those around us and ultimately into the world. As I always say, I truly believe that our journey is to heal ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to become the most empowered, abundant, magical, joyful version of ourselves. And as we do, that ripples out into the world, and as we heal ourselves, we heal the world. That saying, be the change you wish to see in the world, is so powerful, and I really truly believe that it's true. If you can become that change, you can actually create change. Again, many blessings on your path, and thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being here. If you're not already a subscriber, please go ahead and click the like button, click the subscribe button, and make sure you click the little notification bell so that each time I do release a new video for the new or full moon, and there will be other videos coming up in the over the course of the next few weeks. I have some new stuff planned for the channel. I'm really looking forward to that. Go ahead and subscribe and click that little notification button so that you do get notification when a new video is released. Have a wonderful full moon in Libra. Wishing you empowered, joyful, and magical relationships. Blessed be.